Christmas, I want to show you how to buy cheap lands, yes, without losing your money or losing your sleep, and above all, creating a legacy. When you are buying cheap lands, ask for an indemnity clause in the contract of sale. Remember, an indemnity clause in the contract of sale. Secondly, understand the company. So many real estate companies are springing up left, right, and center. And even individuals like myself are building companies like us properties, agencies, and consultants to these very big companies. If you look at the balance sheet of these companies, they are fulfilling all righteousness, and they make land affordable to someone like you and an opportunity like my company to grow big. Now that company is taking a bigger stake than you or I. Why? Because they are investing capital assets in it. The staff, the manpower, the resource networks, the established headquarters and office and local branches, and even the property themselves. These companies have taken it upon themselves to take the risk off you, to break the chain of the omonile and the difficulties of getting development into communities that you never thought about. Some of you are watching this video and it's the first time you are hearing about the Dangote Refinery, the Lekki Free Trade Zone, the Lekki Ports, Lacampine Tropicana, and so many other establishments that are springing up everywhere. So when you look at the reputation of this company and you look at their processes, their leadership, and their experience over time, then you can tell that it's a good investment to take in and key into opportunities that these companies are providing. Thirdly, you look at the value over time and the return on capital that you invest today. If I told you now that in the next 4 years, a property worth 500,000 today will be 3 or 4 million tomorrow, and I actually show you the future, you will purchase. Young investors, parents, new enterprises are keen into that. Now let's look at the timeline. If you believe you're going to live for the next 15 years, right? What stops you from investing 600,000 or 1.5 million into a property? And maybe you wouldn't live in that property, but you could pay school fees, right? You could pay rent, you could actually replace rent. And for some other young men and women, it could be a contribution into a life-changing decision such as marriage, healthcare, or even children going into the university. 500,000, right? That is the value you look at. 500,000, if you split it into 12 months of the calendar, it's barely 100,000. And you know what? You look at the payment plans. These are opportunities for you to invest into, see your money capitalize and appreciate, and at the same time, see it turn in interest above bank rates. Number 4, why should you buy this cheap land? Because of development. The size of NNPC growing and the size of Dangote growing are far, I repeat again, far lower than a startup. Why? Because they have the ability to meet the market, mingle, and they have the ability to do things, change protocols, change rules, and adapt to the market environment. Before NNPC takes a change in decision or changes policy, it will require a lot of board membership signature. Dangote cannot easily move from the Lekki Free Trade Zone, but his own commitment is something that if you compare a startup company there, leveraging on it will do better. So, penny lands are the word for today. Buy those penny lands, they appreciate flashback. And the last reason why you should buy these penny lands is because you don't have money. Yeah, if you had money to buy a sea of old land that's 45 million, you could easily walk into my office, I'll grant you that. but you don't have money. And the little you have, you want to be conservative and see that it returns over and over and over again to you. So I say to you, if you have 700,000 now, and someone that has 700 million, who will be leveraging on their capital? Exactly. So you see, this cheap and affordable penny lands give you the opportunity to own real estate like the millionaires. Oh, calm down, like the millionaires. Imagine you are buying just one plot beside a millionaire. Obviously, the power of bulk purchase transcends into you. The power of bulk market, and as they say, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Why would government want to move a whole estate of 600 plots that has been duly registered and paid for between a developing company and the owners of the land, the omonile, the bales, and a contract has been signed in the Surveyor General's office? Why would government want to do that? Exactly. So I say to you, whenever I recommend through USS Properties penny lands, buy. And if you don't understand, call this number and ask questions. It's that simple. Covenant, you have what we call the indemnity clause. The indemnity clause saves you from any form of land revocation or land loss or even investment loss. Now, you heard about the different titles we have in real estate, right? You heard about the governor's consent, you heard about C of O, and you've also heard about the excision. You've also heard about so many other titles, big words that we're using in this industry. But the other thing that you need to look out for is the indemnity clause. Yes, I can see so many people asking me, what is this indemnity clause? Indemnity clause is just the same form of transfer of loss from you to whoever has collected money from you. And this is how we do it. In real estate, you can buy any land, and I ask you today, buy that one that is selling for 600,000, 700,000, 750,000. It's the cheapest and the most affordable land you can get. Anywhere, just buy. The reason why we say you should buy is because in the years to come, these penny lands, yes, I use the word penny lands, these penny lands are lands that eventually bring in the highest form of capital appreciation. We have one we're selling right now. It's the Safari Park. It's that one that is there. You must have seen some of my videos, right? I tell you to buy that property. Why? Because the total package is 780,000. That was as of last month. But today, the value of the property has increased from 150,000 naira extra, and now it's selling for 750. So I'm asking you, why are you not buying? Because you are scared. So this is where I take away your fear. The most important thing you should look for in a property that you are purchasing is in the contract of sale, where the indemnity clause states clearly that should there be any form of loss or revocation, you get your money back. The company that is selling it to you takes full responsibility of providing the money for you, and at the end of the day, you have nothing to worry about. How does this work? When you buy property, you look out for a provisional survey or a registered survey. Everybody is telling you, don't buy properties unless they have an excision. What is an excision? Check out our video about excision. You understand what an excision is. We're going to show you what an excision looks like. We're going to show you the title document. We're going to show you the actual statements in an excision. Stay with YouTube channel that we have, and you'll see everything there. The excision basically says the government has invested interest in this area and has allocated this particular area XYZ for XYZ purposes. Excisions are usually given to families, but individuals can get them. Now, the other aspect about title documents is when you get this excision, it means the government and yourself, the community or the buyer, understands the purpose for that. Let's take a time frame about excisions and properties that don't even have excisions. Remember Festac 77? Remember Gowon Estate? Remember Dolphin Estate? Right? These areas probably have excisions, or by interest of the government have been defined for a particular purpose. Did people buy them? Yes. Did you buy them? No. At a particular point in time, Victoria Island, starting all the way from Bonny Camp, right, down to Farah Park, that's the Etiosa local government, didn't have excision. Some people moved in there. The Fowlers, they moved in there. Remember? The Tinumbus, they moved in there. Remember? Bodilon was not owned by anybody at a particular time. Some other people moved in there. Now, Ibejuleki is the next hot island that people are buying, and you have not considered it. Why? Because you think it's a risk. Yes, to every risk comes a return or a loss. But Ibejuleki has proven over the last 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years to be the best capital return for investors like you. Why? Because when people buy into that kind of property, they expect that it will grow. I will just give you a time frame of one particular property that grew from 600 to 750,000. And you're still doubting. Now, your fear is genuine and your fear is actually right. You can be afraid to buy, or even fear can propagate that desire to conquer. So in this video, let's conquer the fear. If you don't have an excision, what then do? You look at the company that is selling it. You look at the consultant level of information and actually the facts and the information. News is everywhere. Information is different. So let's go to the facts of the matter. Provisional surveys are good enough for you to buy property. The next thing you do when you have a provisional survey is to register it. See my lawyers behind me? Exactly. That's where the lawyer gets paid. Otherwise, you just go to Alausa, wherever the land ministry or agency is, and regularize. If we used to do what? Regularization. It means something has a defect or needs to be improved upon to a particular standard for it to have perfect ownership or status. So you have a provisional survey which is inside the other documents that you submit to get yours. But before properties are sold, someone lives there, a community is built, families grow, enterprises are established, and then a developer, remember that word? Developer, moves in and says, I can build XYZ estates, properties, commercial or residential. And then someone like you sees an advert by someone like Us Properties and calls to buy. Now when you call to buy, you could be buying an estate with C of O or a governor's consent. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the regular 600, 700, 500,000 plus of land. Right? And then you call and we say it's just a registered survey or a provisional survey. And you get skeptical, you drop back. And then when you drop back, somebody steps forward ahead of you and buys that property. Now the person is buying because one, the reputation of the company, two, the established presence of that company, three, the kind of capital asset balances that that company has. Do you know that for every property that I recommend to you, I actually buy? Who has the bigger stake? The companies that are developing these estates sell one third of it to you and keep a big chunk of 2/3 of that estate. Who has more assets and who is exposed to more risk? So I say to you today, if you're buying that property, call us and understand what we're talking about. It's good to have a property with a C of O if you're looking for financing or mortgaging. It's good to have a property that has the governor's consent if you're trading it. It's good to have a property that has an excision to understand actually what the government and the state plan is for that environment. But if you don't have that, then you increase your risk factors and you increase your risk knowledge. So I'm telling you today, buy all that property. But remember, page 3, the clause identifies you of loss. So I say to you again today, I'll see you in the next video.